Wrestling Roundup, FreeFM 89.0, episode 107, and live on Skype with me right now I've got Josh.
Hey.
And we got Brandon.
Hello.
It's a full house. So we'll talk about some of the major things that happened this week. I don't know, where do we want to start?
I think we can start with the end of Raw, where Randy Orton became the number one contender.
It's definitely a different angle than I thought they were going to go, but I've been hearing a whole bunch of different things.
Yeah, having a number one contender match for see who is the contender, we haven't had that in a very long time, with most of our champions being part-time or injured, like Daniel Bryan was.
It's definitely a different way they've gone. Orton and Seth Rollins put on a great match at WrestleMania, so if the match remains this and it remains a one-on-one for the title at Extreme Rules, I'd expect another great match between the two.
Yeah, I agree with that statement.
And I think it's also too soon to have Roman versus Seth anyway.
Yeah, I heard a rumor today that they're going to have a really long feud.
I could see the third man in the match being the filler in between Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns to get them to them.
Fair enough. Don't you have some crazy, weird storyline in your head with the Money in the Bank and Reigns, Josh?
Yeah. Well, I realized there's a Money in the Bank pay-per-view between now and SummerSlam. What's to say that Roman Reigns doesn't win that briefcase and turns around at SummerSlam during a match between Lesnar and Rollins and does exactly what Rollins did to him?
That would be a very long storyline, but I guess it's rumored we're going to be having it, so... I think in terms of pure storyline basis, the WWE's starting to pick up and be interesting again.
Yeah, with the WWE Champion actually being on the show, it's kind of refreshing and nice, because we haven't had that in a very long time.
I don't know if it's a correlation to that, or if it's just the after WrestleMania buzz, but things are definitely being a lot harder to predict the direction they're going.
Well, this is really, if you want, WWE doesn't have an off season, but if they do, now is that time. This is the time when they really just, they don't put as much into it as they do the rest of the year. It's kind of an after WrestleMania lull, if you want. But that does sometimes make it less predictable because they're not trying as hard.
Fair enough. I think it was this week, something that probably most people wouldn't have predicted. AJ Lee has retired from the company.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere.
Good riddance.
Josh really wasn't a fan.
Yeah, towards the end of her run, I kind of got annoyed myself with her taking a lot of time off. But
yeah,
in the few years that she was there, she accomplished a lot. She was in a number of top storylines, and of course, she's the longest reigning Divas champion.
When she wasn't taking time off, when was the last time she wasn't part of the title picture?
I'm trying, and I'm not thinking of anything.
That's the biggest point. She was always there. She was always in the way. And it made it to where they couldn't push other divas because they were always pushing AJ.
I want to say that she's the John Cena of the Divas division. At least they've backed off on Cena lately. I see where you're coming from with your point. but in terms of fan enjoyment, it seems though she was still one of the top divas in terms of that, and in terms of in-ring ability, you may debate me, but she was up there with some of the better ones of the active roster right now.
Yeah, definitely not the
Exactly.
greatest
Best.
in the ring of all time, but she was the best in the division in the time she was there. One of the best.
She was average at best.
This debate is going nowhere. So-
And speaking of divas, next week on Raw we get a number one contenders battle royal.
Whoa.
Probably to be won by Naomi.
Yeah, right now I'm thinking Naomi, Charlotte, or a returning Tamina Snuka.
I would find it hard for Tamina because Tamina doesn't really seem like somebody who would play a face.
Yeah.
I just don't think it would be believable.
But
unless
then again-
unless they paired him back up with the Usos, but that wouldn't be pointless because you have Naomi with the Usos now.
And one of the Usos is injured.
True. That'd definitely be an interesting route to go. Especially since Tamina and Naomi have both been with the Usos. Maybe that's going to be an in-between before Naomi makes it to the Divas title.
With the way WWE has their memory, they probably forgot they ever paired them up.
That is a good point. And I think we're meant to forget as well. There's a lot of different ways they can go with this Battle Royal, especially since it at least seemed to be that they were pushing AJ back into the title picture. Now it seems they've sort of flipped with not having Naomi up there, but you've still got Paige who is tagging with these people. Then for some reason you're
Not getting the win.
not getting the win or the pinfall. But you've also got the three random divas who decided to complain to Kane until they got a Battle Royal.
Yeah, and by random, you definitely mean random.
Natalia less random than the other two, but yes.
Yeah, Summer Rae, Cameron, and Alicia Fox, we haven't really seen too much on our TV screens as of late.
Well, no, you've seen Alicia on Total Divas.
Yeah, that's true.
But
And especially bad considering wasn't it Cameron that was doing the most sucking up with the whole thing about Naomi
I think so.
and her beating the Divas champion twice.
I don't know.
That was just being battle for character.
Yeah. It seemed there's a lot of different ways that Battle Royal can go, but there's only like 2 or 3 likely ways that Battle Royal can go.
Let's just hope somebody doesn't pull a Gail Kim.
I'm out. See ya, bye.
I quit.
Yeah, that's what AJ should have done.
I don't know. Long range prediction is definitely that there's going to be some NXT involvement in that match.
Yeah, I think it's getting close to time to start calling up people and giving people their walking papers.
Okay, so
Yeah, there's definitely a few divas that should be cut.
so we'll go into our
Yeah,
classic
like Zack Ryder.
classic entrance theme before we start an argument. It's the Basham Brothers. And you're back with Wrestling Roundup, FreeFM 99.0, Grady, Josh, and Brandon. I'm still thrown off. What are we going to talk about? What's next?
I guess we can talk about Adrian Neville versus Seth Rollins.
That's a good point.
No, it's Neville. He lost his first name. Somewhere between Florida and California, he lost his first name or forgot it.
Left it on the plane.
It got left in the baggage.
But yeah, it definitely seemed like when you book that, it's an NXT guy who called up on Raw last week versus your brand new WWE Heavyweight Champion, and it wasn't a squash.
Yeah, it was actually a pretty cool match to watch.
It was entertaining. It went for 10 minutes.
It was a good match, really good match. I think it really showed off what Neville can do. Given the chance, I know I got into a major argument over the match booking with somebody because I agreed with the WWE the way they did it here, and they said that they should have had Neville win the match.
Yeah.
And that would have been the worst thing you could have done for the new WWE champion.
Yeah, I called
You weren't
that kind of
them
finish.
went back this week.
Yeah, I call that kind of finish the John Cena Kurt Angle finish, where you have a guy put on a great performance but ends up coming up losing.
Neville definitely
Their
can.
biggest problem was that he didn't get to use his finisher.
Hmm.
And I'm like, well, I buried the finisher and by having Seth kick out of the move.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
I was happy with everything done in the match. It would have made no sense to have this NXT rookie defeat the World Heavyweight Champion, even if it was a non-title match.
The only way you should have a non-title match, the champion lose, especially the WWE champion lose, is if that person is somebody who can be put in line for the number one contendership.
Yeah.
Neville is not yet one of those people.
No.
I think he eventually will be.
Eventually.
It's just that,
Yep.
that
That's not today.
it's about 2 years too early for that.
Talking about the title pictures, John Cena's going with Rusev again, all of that. But the Intercontinental title is just going to be a Bryan Barrett rematch for now.
Yeah, I was a bit surprised at that.
I expected it to be a fatal four-way match.
Yeah.
Does anybody here not expect it to be Fatal 4-Way?
I don't think so. I think we all predicted a fatal
You know, they
four-way.
may shock us and do like a six-pack challenge.
There's lots of contenders there, but Ziggler and Sheamus have been heavily involved into this feud. Even if Sheamus's hair does suck.
Definitely not going to be a one-on-one match.
They'll shock us. They'll do 2 singles. They'll do a singles and then one contenders.
Unless they do 2 single matches where Barrett and Bryan for a rematch for the title, and then they do Ziggler and Sheamus.
I don't know. I'd put them into a Fatal 4-Way, but that's just me. It makes more sense.
Yeah. But the thing is with the fatal four-way, I don't think they want Sheamus to lose so early into his return.
Just have him stay on the outside and not be pinned.
Into the finish, though.
Fatal 4-Way is probably the easiest way to have him lose without losing. US, I talked about that. Stardust randomly got a title shot, though.
Well,
he's
just answering his U.S. Open challenge.
Is he going to be doing that every
I
week?
cracked a joke saying he was looking for golfers.
The US Open, God. Who watches golf? But is he going to be doing this every week? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a new thing, and I'm actually looking forward to John Cena Invitational every week, because it's going to be a good match.
Yeah, the John Cena Invitational would be a better name than the U.S. Open Challenge, because that is the name of a golf tournament.
If it's going to be similar to the TV title, or even slightly similar to the hardcore title in that it seems like everybody's just throwing themselves at the challenge rather than being picked, it's definitely something that's going to keep the title relevant.
And whoever beats John Cena for the championship will be elevated automatically.
Mm-hmm. And John Cena always has the excuse of, well, I defended the title 5 weeks straight on Raw, and of course I lost on the 5th week. I'd been doing it for 5 weeks. And that at least slightly protects him.
Yeah, and I got to give some praise to John Cena. He's pulling out new moves every week. And I'm a big fan of that springboard stunner he pulled out.
I was going to mention the springboard stunner. Just the 6 moves of Doom now. He's just put the springboard stunner in there.
No, I think he's 7 moves, because he does break out the Hurricanrana.
Yep, good point. Whether we continue to joke and diss Cena about his moveset, he's putting on entertaining matches.
Yeah, his work has been really good in the ring lately. Sometimes I don't like him because he can come off too cheesy and stuff like that, and sometimes I don't like the way he's booked. But as an in-ring performer, I think he's definitely one of the greatest of all time.
On that note, we'll go into our current entrance theme. It's Sheamus's new theme to go with his new hairdo. And you're back with Wrestling Roundup. Grady, Josh, and Brandon, FreeFM 89.0. We're just talking about John Cena. He was the guest on the Live Jericho podcast.
And, they made more references to the talent being afraid to take chances.
Mm-hmm. I didn't see it myself, but I've read sort of secondhand what happened.
They also talked about what it would probably take for Cena to turn heel.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing, because it probably will never happen.
Didn't he want someone to take over?
He said he would do it if he was asked. He said he would do it if he was asked, but he hopes that there is somebody in place that can take care of the children that are his fans the way he does or better, so that if he does do it, it doesn't hurt the company as much.
So it's not going to happen?
I would say probably, if it does happen, it'll probably be about a year and a half or so. I think the guy that can do it is Roman Reigns. Just needs time.
Interesting pick.
I think it's kind of obvious Roman Reigns is going to be the next John Cena, the face of the company.
It depends, though, if he can get the kids over. Like, John Cena has the bright colors and all the other jazz to convince the kids.
I think Roman Reigns is popular with the kids.
Yeah, he has very much the same dynamic about him in the fan base that John Cena currently has.
Fair enough. There was an interesting story floating about that I think has been completely squashed as rumor now. But it was all centered around the fact that it was a live Jericho podcast this time and not a live Austin podcast. And whether there was meaning behind that and all of that. But I think Austin nipped that in the bud by saying the contract was only for 2.
I'm not too sure about it.
I wanted Austin to interview Cena if they were going to do another one. I'm alright with Jericho. Jericho brought up a lot of good questions, funny stories and things. So I was alright with it. But I wanted to see what it would be like to have a top guy and a top guy talking about the business.
Fair enough.
Jericho admitted while he being the world champion, he was never the guy.
True. I don't know. I'll probably still go watch it. And I guess that's all that matters. But talking about the WWE Network, lots of changes happening. Or even just WWE in general for their television shows. So we got SmackDown is moving to the USA Network. Tough Enough is starting back up on the USA Network. Camp WWE is going to be on the network. What else we got? We got Jerry Springer's new show on the network. We got Jackass's new show on the network. Lots of shake-ups.
They just needed more original content for the network, so that's why those shows were generated.
Personally, I really wanted to see the return of Legends House.
I think the problem with Legends House is you have to get the right group of guys all free for a long period of time.
Yeah, Legends House was a fun show to watch, and if they bring like any show of that type where they all stay in a house, I'd like it because it's just fun to watch and to see those kind of people in everyday life, almost.
Everyday life, going bowling and swimming in the pool. But has anything been said, because I had a quick Google, about who the Tough Enough coaches, if they're going with that, are going to be?
The only thing I've heard is that Steve Austin turned the show down.
Yes.
Yes, I really enjoyed Steve Austin as the host, so that really disappointed me.
I've heard that Austin turned it down, scheduling conflicts with his Broken Skull Ranch, and that
we know Bill DeMott won't be back.
DeMott's probably not back. If the WrestleMania week, I guess Trish could probably be back into it by now. But I don't know if they're even going to go with the coach theme. It did say an entirely reformatted theme.
Yeah,
I think it's one person we could see as a coach. I think could be Victoria.
I don't know. I'm hearing a lot about Goldust.
Yeah, Goldust would also be a good choice.
And you've probably got Jason Alberts there as well.
Yeah, he is the head trainer at NXT, so it wouldn't be too bad of a choice for him to be there.
Let's just hope this time they create a star.
Yeah.
Last time that actually was created out. Last one was Cameron.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all we got out.
First one eliminated.
She was eliminated because her favorite match was Molina versus Alicia Fox.
Great match. And she got to appear with Alicia Fox in a segment on Raw. How could you not?
Yeah, that was an awful season. And I think we can all agree that the wrong person won that.
Especially when he got for steroids not 2 weeks later.
Yeah, there was a couple of other great contestants on there that also would have done it.
Yeah, Matt Cross.
Mm-hmm.
He was there.
I'm only vaguely remembering a name. Martin?
He's also on a Lucha Underground now.
Either way, that's this week. It's been great talking to both of you peoples.
Been great too.
So you can visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/Wrestling Roundup Radio, and our Twitter page, twitter.com/Wrestling Radio, and our really updated website, wrestlingroundup.host22.com, wrestlingroundup.host22.com, and I'll see you next week.